Steps I Took podcast. We are back.
We're back in the Dubai studio with our matcha as usual.
As usual. Oh, it was your birthday as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was my birthday on Friday. Took time to relax and be unprovoked as we get older and deeper into our 30s. It's like, it's less about, everyone come to my brunch. It's more like, everyone leave me alone and let me relax.
That's it. Time alone sometimes is the best time, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what about you? Any mad activities last weekend?
This weekend was probably one of the best weekends I've had, like, in Dubai, because it being Ramadan, there was like no parties and no events and stuff. So Saturday, I didn't have to think about going to brunch and working my brunch later. So I got up in the morning, went for a run, played paddle, went to the cinema, came home, did nothing, and it was perfect.
Yeah. That relaxing time in Dubai in Ramadan, although it's changed a lot since I've been here for the last 9 years, it still has that sense of calm. The traffic, or should I say lack of traffic on the roads, getting places in like 12 to 20 minutes instead of 20 to 45 minutes, absolute bliss. It's absolutely heavenly.
Dubai feels so different when it's Ramadan. I don't know, that just the aura, the air just feels different. And like you said, no traffic. And I went for a run on Kite Beach last night and it was like empty.
Really?
Yeah, which was nice.
That
so
is
I could just do what I needed to do and then get out.
And being Ramadan as well, especially being in the region, we were just talking off camera about, for me, making sure I'm having like a more conscious mind and making sure I'm just having the most positive thoughts and the sense of like support and just pushing out goodness and none of this like negativity or swearing or anything like that.
Yeah. It's like a cleanse, a reset kind of period, ain't it? Even if you're not like religious. Like,
yeah, I feel like it, especially being in this region. I feel in the UK, if I'm being honest with you, I didn't even feel it pass. Whereas here, it's like, no, everyone stop. I have a mosque right outside my house as well. So every morning or throughout the day, whenever I'm at home, I like to just actually listen and actually just take that moment. Although I might not be praying, one of my friends said to me ages ago, she's Muslim and she prays 5 times a day. She said for her, it is a time to stop and pause and be grateful in the day. And I was like, wow, I absolutely love that outlook. So now I try as much as I can to just be grateful throughout the day, but especially if I hear the call to prayer, I'm like, just pause for a minute. It's nice.
I love that, man. And you know, this is the podcast that invites guests on to share their journey, share their story and the steps that they've taken towards greatness, towards success, or just where they are right now, you know. And you know me, like I'm getting old, I get injured quite a bit. And like for the last, I don't know, like 2 years, I've had this like knee injury that I've been battling. I've been from physio to physiotherapist. I've maxed out all my my sessions with my health insurance. I won't name the hospital's name. And then, so now, you know, I have to kind of self-pay for my physios and stuff. And yeah, like I found someone that's actually really helped me to, you know, improve my health when it comes to recovery.
Because now you can even go on 10K runs.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like after a leg day session, do you know what I mean? And you know, like 12 months ago, that wasn't possible. So I was just like, I need to get her on the podcast because I feel like, you know, like earlier on off air, off the camera, you were saying to me that you got any injury and stuff. And sometimes we might just self-diagnose or just be like, oh, attribute it to getting old or think, yeah, this is just, we just have to live with this. But actually you don't have to. And, you know, so that's why I'm glad to have our guest on today because I'm sure she can debunk some myths and also enlighten us onto the journey that she took to become a physiotherapist. So welcome, Rajbir Kaur.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
Good. How about you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah. Happy to be here.
We're very happy to have you here as well. We're looking forward to debunking some myths. You did a few already off camera. So we'll definitely get you giving us some more tips and tricks to help us in our days. But before we get started, we have a tradition on our podcast to ask all of our guests, what has been a highlight or a good thing that's happened to you in the last 7 days?
Last 7 days, wow. I think it's my mom coming over. Like this is finally the time when I can have like her hand-cooked meals. So like a bit more healthy. Yeah. The moment she came, she's like, "You're eating junk, change." So like, I'm like, all right. So like having those, her at home just changes the whole vibe. I'm so happy. Like, because every time she's not here, like I I just don't look after myself or my health that well. But when she's around, everything falls in place. So happy to have her. And that's, I think, the best highlight over the last 7 days for me. Yeah.
That's such a lovely thing. It's so interesting as well because you're like, as a physio, and I guess we look at all kinds of practitioners who help us with our health and our well-being and our bodies. We just wrongfully assume that you look after yourself.
Look, yeah. They say practice what you preach, but that doesn't happen every time for health practitioners.
Yeah, exactly.
We do tell like our patients that, you know, you need to lead a healthy lifestyle, do this and that. But like when it comes to ourselves, sometimes we neglect ourselves. But trying to get back on track, Ramadan is all about that, right? To maintain your fitness, you know, gratitude, you know, forgiveness, looking after your health. So I hope I can get on track with that.
Yeah.
Nice. How long is your mum down for?
She's going to stay like 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
Wow.
She just loves the heat because right now it's snowing in US. So she's like, this is the best time to visit Dubai.
Yeah. So that's going to be a good, you know, reset. They say, well, how long is it they say for habits to be formed? Is it?
I think 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
So by the time she leaves, you should be set on your routine again.
Yeah. I really hope, fingers crossed.
Nice. So like, well, I guess that's a good point to start in terms of, I guess you mentioned your mother. It seems, you know, that you're really happy to have your mother here and stuff.
Yes.
So let's go back to, you know, life for you as a child. My understanding is you grew up in the UAE, right?
Yes, born and raised in the UAE. Life was really, I think I was really blessed because when it comes to living in a country like UAE, you know, with diversity, inclusion, safety, interacting and, you know, living with a lot of people from different nationalities and backgrounds, it was an amazing experience, an amazing journey. So like, we are a family of 7 people. I have like 4 elder siblings and 1 younger one. And every time like we would be home, you know, it's all about like family together. I think I just enjoyed that part more. So more family oriented days. So I would just like, you know, rush from school just to be home, look at mom, you know, the meals she has prepared, then check out dad, like how he has been after his work, hanging out with, you know, friends and siblings all around in the neighborhood. But yeah, I think life was pretty amazing. I think like I sometimes like I just sit back and I reflect and I'm like, I'm so grateful because there are so many things that not a lot of kids get to have nowadays, but the fact that, you know, I was able to have a good lifestyle, it was amazing.
Where in the UAE was it you grew up?
Al Quwain. This is one place I tell everybody and then they're like, oh, that's too far. And I'm like, definitely not far than Mars.
But it's got a lot of nature, right?
Yeah. So like it's compared to Dubai is so fast paced, you know, and so busy and so hyped. But like when you go to the north side of the UAE, it's more calm, serene. So like I enjoyed that part of my life. Like I'm not rushed or worried about traffic or about having a lot of noises around me. Like Al Quwain on 3 sides is surrounded by water. So we are well known for the beaches. So that's the best thing that you can ever explore in Al Quwain. So like going for a walk at the night, you know, enjoying that breeze, it just calms you down and de-stresses you at the end of the day.
That's interesting because
amazing.
When you say nature and stuff, I feel like most people that think of the UAE think of Dubai, right?
Yeah.
And certainly they think of man-made.
Man-made, yes.
Like even I remember when you told me like to think of like a place with nature and natural in the UAE, I was like, whoa. So that's interesting to kind of, you know, see someone that's from there.
Yeah, and how long do you think it takes approximately to get there from Dubai?
If there's no traffic, like it's around 48 minutes to an hour.
So like going downtown to Marina anyway.
Yeah. Like I've had people tell me like, why don't you move to Dubai if you're working in Dubai? And I'm like,
oh, you still live there now?
I have been living there ever since I was born. Like the hospital I was born in is still there, right next to my house.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but like I'm so used to the drive now, like it doesn't bother me anymore. But I just tell people like it's the normal time that people take to move within Dubai from one area to another, right? So for me, I think it's way more convenient. And just because I don't want to give up on the relaxing side of it, on the, you know, calm and serene side of my lifestyle that I have right now, I think that's much more needed now. Yeah. I enjoy.
What was it like, I guess, growing up over there and, you know, I guess, because Dubai obviously wasn't what Dubai is today back then.
Yes,
right? So So like, I guess I'm kind of trying to liken it to say in the UK where I'm from, and I have cousins that grew up in Sheffield and I grew up in London, and they would look at London as, oh, the big smoke, the big capital. Is that how you sort of viewed Dubai back then, or what was like your relationship with?
If I have to like compare from how Al Quain to Dubai, oh my God, Dubai has developed really fast. But back in that day, like I still remember like my mom telling me every time we would head towards Dubai on Sheikh Zayed Road, there's only the World Trade Center that you would see. Nothing else around, just sand. So like to see Dubai develop from sand like to such a amazing city within like I think just 10 years or a decade, it's amazing. At the other hand, if I have to see like when it comes to looking for things like luxury side of UAE, you know, for easy access to resources and all, that part lacks in Al Quain compared to Dubai. But I'm just like proud to see how Dubai has, you know, developed this this good. And the reason why, like, you know, there are so many expats calling it a second home. For me, I don't even call it a second home. This is my home. Like, I'm originally from India, from the north side, but I have never been to India. Like, just back once in 2007 and then never again. So, like, my summer vacations would be like a trip or a staycation in Fujairah or in Ras Al Khaimah, or like we would go to Oman. So this is all. Well, people tell me like you're almost like a local, and I'm like, only thing I don't speak Arabic. I wish I could, but like my schooling, my upbringing was all like around Indian and English, so I didn't get a chance. But I just love the culture. I love the culture, the people, the heritage. It's best.
It's really interesting that you grew up here, but you didn't have to learn Arabic.
Yeah.
Was it taught in schools at all?
It was in schools, but I think this is another thing that has improved over the years now. Back in those days, when they would teach Arabic in schools, they would just be like written Arabic or just like the textbook Arabic. There were no conversational Arabic classes, but now they're introducing that into schools. And recently, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan has made it mandatory that private and public sector schools have to teach Arabic. Not only written, not only reading, but also speaking. They need to emphasize on that, which is, I think, amazing, because that makes, gives you a bit of a confidence, because it's easy to converse. Because this is one point that I feel like I was lacking, because when you come into a medical practice, you get a lot of clients, especially from different age groups. And the elderly are not that fluent in English. So that's when you really got to hit your Arabic right in front. And there it's like, okay, I can speak in broken words, and the rest I just end up on actions. And I'm like, fingers crossed, hopefully they get me. But I think that would make the future so easy for kids, because the more they learn, the better it's going to be when it comes to practice in all sectors.
I think it's really important, being whatever country you're living in, you learn the language, and it is on my list to learn Arabic.
Same. I tried with Duolingo, but I got frustrated with I feel
like
the sounds are just giving me sounds. Like I'm like, give me like something more. You know, I want to actually learn words and sentences. So I just know the basic stuff. But I think maybe we should set a challenge to ourselves to, you know, like this year, let's learn Arabic, and at the top of next year, maybe we can come on the podcast and see what our progress, if any, is like.
See if we can do one episode in Arabic.
Yeah,
I'm down. Okay.
That's all we know. Inshallah and yalla.
And la.
What was it like as I guess, you know, being of Indian descent, growing up in the UAE? How was your experience, and how did your family, say, integrate with, you know, other cultures in and around the area?
So I think where I lived, it was mostly Indian community, Indian, Pakistani community. But for my parents, it was pretty easy. Like, my dad moved to UAE back in like 1980s. So the moment he moved in here first, like, it was easy for him, because that time English wasn't like given that much priority when it comes to communication. It was mostly Arabic, and he had to deal with Arabs. So he was really good in speaking. For my mom, she's like a 50-50. She would speak half English and mostly our language. But living in the community was much easier, because I think even if now you check the percentage of expats that live in UAE, majority are Indians. So that made like life a bit easier for them as well. But at the same time, mingling with people, hanging out with them, learning about the lifestyle, adapting to different things, it was pretty much easier compared to now. I think now there are so many, nationalities and so many different background people that have moved in. So sometimes that is difficult to tackle. But like if you'll see like where I'm living right now in Umaquin, it's mostly Indian community. I think it was way easier. Yeah.
So I feel from you love that sense of community, a sense of belonging and being around lots of people, but then also that nature side and that kind of free-spirited side. So where in your kind of life journey did you then feel like, physiotherapy is my route, my pathway to go down?
This is a fun story, by the way. I was never interested in science. Back in school, like when I had to choose, I always had this perspective that I want to go for commerce. But then my sister was doing her dentistry in her college, and that's when she told me, there's a field called physiotherapy. Have a look at it, because I was so lost on which field to choose under science. And when I had a read about it, and some of the people in my house also had like health issues. My mom used to have like low back pains, knee pains. My dad also with the same thing. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe like what is physiotherapy exactly? Like it's still not understood, still not well understood, and really undervalued field, to be very frank. But the more I read about it, the more I understood. Like it's all about, getting you back on your feet, getting you perform better, helping you perform your daily functions better. So that motivated me like to learn more about it, to dig deeper into how I can be as a physiotherapist of value to people. So the more I got into it, the better it was. I still remember the first day of my orientation in college. I came back home crying, because that's the day when I saw cadavers, basically like structures on which you learn anatomy. So I saw that, and I just came home and I'm like, Dad, I saw a dead body today. I can't. And he's like, no, but this is medicine. And I'm like, really? I didn't think medicine would be like this. But I went, studied, and the more I got into like the proper physio part of it, because first year is like general. You learn physiology, you learn about the biochemistry, you learn about the anatomy, muscles, everything. And it's all not like one area. Like if you see a dentist, they would just study like the head and face and neck, and that's it. Cardiologist just regarding the heart, or just basic about the system. But we under physiotherapy learn every field, because physiotherapy is not just regarding muscles or regarding sports. You can do physiotherapy for elderly, you can do physiotherapy for women, you can do for cardiorespiratory, pulmonary. So like there's so many branches to it. So that just like, piqued my interest in this. So yeah, when I graduated, like that was the time when I was so passionate like about thinking which field or sector I should go into. That's where my first job shaped it, because my first job was in a clinic where they focus mostly on sports recovery, sports rehabilitation, and muscular. So that's when I developed more interest in this sector, and I was like, okay, I got to advance in this. And here I am now, specializing in the same.
That is an amazing journey, going from not knowing which field to go down in the science route, and then realizing, I really actually love this, and then being lucky enough to go into your first job and fortunate to really enjoy that sector of physiotherapy is amazing.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, you mentioned that you said your sister was also sort of pursuing science.
Yes.
So was that, and you said that kind of you knew that you wanted to go into science. So was that something that came from like your parents, or was that where did that, I guess, it seems as if you were both in education. So where did that, I guess, importance on education come from?
I think from my dad. He was my source of inspiration. He always used to say and believe in the fact that knowledge is power. So I know he had really tough times, because like back in those days, having a family this big, it's difficult to manage everything. And he was the sole breadwinner of the family. So every time, like, I would see, how he's able to manage everything and making sure, like, we get the best of the education, that just, like, pushed me to learn more. And science was one perspective that I wanted to look into because of my sister. She was the first one to get into it. And seeing her, so dedicated so well to her field, providing such good care to her clients, it just motivated me, like, okay, I should also, be of this level. But main was my dad. Like, everything I am right now, I would just say it's because of him. Not even a single time. Like, I remember if I would have told him, like, I would need this or that, like, for my studies, he would never stop. He would never hesitate. Like, even if he didn't have a single penny in his pocket, he would make sure that I get it and I don't compromise on my education. And he did the same with all his children. He always used to say, like, you kids are my savings, because people would ask him, like, in this kind of lifestyle, like, it's very difficult to save in Dubai. I think everybody knows. So he would say, like, oh my God, you have so many kids. Like, you have to look for the future, for their education, and, you're the only one earning. How are you going to manage? He's like, no, my kids are my savings. I have educated them and raised them in a way where they can be independent and look after themselves and get on their feet and achieve the success that they do deserve. So just seeing him listen to that just motivated me more to work more hard, to make him proud. And I'm just thinking he's watching me from up there and being happy.
I'm sure he's proud, because you are doing really, really well. You've been in your field for 7 years, is it?
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years practicing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite a long time.
That's longer than I've been in Dubai.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it is a long time. So definitely don't cut yourself short for it. Yeah. And obviously as well, like you've said the word care so many times, and obviously having Jevanni as one of your clients, and you've clearly cared for him so well, that not just in the fact that he's able to now go and run 10K, but to the fact that he values you so highly. He's been asking you to come on here. Yeah. And I think that a lot of practitioners, whether it's physiotherapy or a doctor, dentist or whatever, sometimes can lack that care side that you obviously bring to the table, that makes patients like Jevanni and anyone feel a lot more connected, and then even we all know when we go to a doctor or any kind of practitioner, we need to take their advice and do what they say so that we get better. If someone is lacking that care and that personability to support you, you might disregard their advice. So I think that because you have that care element to your character in general, and then obviously that comes onto your clients, it means that they respect and value your opinion that much more, that they actually implement it. So people like Jevanni are now running 10K, and it really adds that extra kind of push on people that I think it just can't be taught.
Yeah. No, I'm happy, and seeing his progress, I'm just more proud, because every time I see my patients recovering faster and getting their goals way faster than what I expected it to be, it just makes me more and more happy and more confident that, okay, I'm able to help people. Because like, if I have to say a story, like for my mom, basically, while I was studying, she had foot pain. So she had plantar fascia issue. And the only thing that I had to do that time was take her for rehab. And as every Asian parent that have medical kids in home, they would never listen to their advice. They'd rather go and pay outside and then listen to the doctor. So I've been through that. So, and the moment she would go there and the doctor just diagnosed her with plantar fascia, I'm like, told you so. But just went in, did her rehab. But it was so... it just lacked the, psychological and the social part in her rehab. They didn't think about like what she has been through recently, how is her life around. Not just the physical issue, but also her surroundings. Had something impacted her recovery? Is something delaying her recovery? What's bringing up the pain? Because this is so important. Like, people talk about pain, but pain isn't the only factor that you need to see changing when it comes to results from a treatment. You need to see how well you're able to cope up with other strategies or other issues that you have been surrounded with. Your lifestyle, your food habits, your hydration habits, your sleep pattern, and so many more. So she did not get that kind of care. So the moment like I started practicing, and all my seniors who were guiding me at that time, I saw them like incorporating and emphasizing on communication. And the more I practiced it, the more I understood like this is what was needed, because there are so many terminologies when it comes to medical. It's easy to just say the word damage, but when it comes to a patient's mindset, it might be a huge word for them, right? Can have a huge impact on how they're going to process it. So the way we speak, the way we use certain terminologies, we have to be pretty careful around it. At the same time, also not neglect the person itself. You got to listen to them, you got to validate everything that they're trying to say, see how you can help them in all perspectives, a holistic approach, not just like the physiotherapy, where you just get the client in, you just test, you just make them lay down, do the treatment, send them with a paper of home exercises and wrap it up. No, you got to listen to everything and see every other possible factor that could impact their recovery or their progress. So I think the more I learned, the better I got in this. And I still have my clients coming back to me and telling me like they never felt heard to or never felt listened to. But the moment they came to me, like they felt like I'm listening to other parts as well that could impact their health. And with the tips and with the suggestions I'm giving, they're recovering better. So couldn't be more proud and happy to see that happen.
This is really amazing.
Yeah. And I think as well, even like what you said about not being heard, I think that was the case for me. And I think, it's like you have a really good ability to meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
And I think technology, and that's something I think we should get onto at some point as well, is in technology and physiotherapy, because you've obviously, you said you've been doing it for 7 years. And it's interesting that, people go to a physiotherapist and, physiotherapist A might say, oh, you just need to do these sort of exercises. Physiotherapist B might take out a machine and use a machine and give some exercises, etc. For you, I guess, along your journey as being a physiotherapist, how much has technology changed in the treatment, and how much has the treatment or new discoveries come about to kind of support what you're doing?
Yeah. I think there is a huge difference in that. I would say like if you will compare physiotherapy practice now versus just 7 years ago, or say 10 years ago, it's, I think, 60 to 70% improvement. So like there are still so many practices that are running here in Dubai or in UAE in general that believe in conventional treatments. They do work, but that's not how things are going to help, because lifestyle back then is not the same lifestyle now. Things have changed, stresses have changed, our eating habits have changed, the quality of the food and the water that you put into your body, everything has, totally gone upside down. So treatments have to be more modern, more advanced in a way to make sure that the client recovers faster and better. So I think in that perspective, like for example, at our clinic where I work, physio, we are believing in more holistic approach, but as well as advanced. So we have certain modalities and machines that can help get you back on your feet faster. But at the same time, there are other techniques that we do follow that are still conventional, but used in combination with everything. So like back in the days, people would just do like modalities, 2-3 stretches, and that's it. But the emphasis was more on modalities. Even till date, if you check in certain hospitals, the physiotherapy standard is this, because this is what insurance approves.
And what's, for benefit of listeners, modalities, can you explain what?
So for example, at our clinic, we have something called Tekar therapy. So this technique helps in biostimulation. So faster recovery, bringing in a lot of reparative cells, boosting collagen production, or reorganization of muscle fibers. So this will help in fast healing of a muscle, ligament, or a tendon injury. There's also a mode you can use for the joint. And then we also have MEP, that is microelectrolysis percutaneous. This is one technique that one of our colleagues at our work specializes in, and he's the only one in the whole UAE who does that. So this technique works in boosting the recovery way more than what you might expect. So if there is, say, like an Achilles muscle tear or like a tendon damage and you come in, maybe it takes like 1.5 weeks to recover on a general basis, depending on the grade of the injury. So if you say grade 1 to 2, but with this technique, you will recover less than a week and you can get back on your feet to perform faster. So recovery is all about making sure that you get back to loading, because body loves loading. There are still so many practitioners or healthcare professionals who would say, like, if you get an injury, rest. Don't move. Don't do this exercise. Don't do that. But that's not how things work. You got to make sure that you do move, but you know your limits. You listen to your body. You listen to your pain. Perform as much as possible. If you feel like the pain is getting worse hour by hour, day by day, okay, you got to bring it down a notch. And then repeat the same. So it's all like about gradual increase in loading, adaptation, improving the tolerance of the tissues. So the more you improve the capacity of them, the better you're going to get back on track. So these kind of small things, like these are the basics. So during sessions with my clients, I make sure like I build a strong foundation, and then on that, we develop more and more. Initially, we do use modalities. We have like dry cupping, we have dry needling, acupuncture, and many more. These are all short term. This is another thing. Like people think that this is the only solution, but no, it's a short term result. So, but it gives us a window period within which we can make sure we get the client to load, to work out, to do certain exercises, be it strengthening, stability, or just stretches or mobility, to make sure like, they're moving, because movement is medicine, no matter how much you neglect this fact, but this is the reality. So even like now, back in those days when people had fracture, doctors would put it in a cast, keep it like for weeks, but now that has changed as well. So there are better modalities that can help even in bone healing. There's something called magnetotherapy. So you use this modality, you just wrap it around the leg or the arm or the site of the fracture, and you repeat this technique at least within the first 1 to 2 weeks. And this helps in healing of the bone faster than how it normally should be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I'm the first one to be like, no, my legs hurt, I'm laying down, I'm not moving. My body says rest, but actually it's just saying do less.
Yes.
Not necessarily, not stop.
Not stop. I think you can ask Jevanni. I've never asked him to stop.
Yeah, it's true. And on the MEP technique that you mentioned there, where you said that it's the only, your colleague is the only one doing it in the UAE.
Yes.
So the thing that actually, like the hook that kind of got me to try it, I was like, okay, it's worked for Lionel Messi and the Argentina squad. So like it should be able to work for me because I believe your colleague treated them as well, right?
Yes, he has treated elite football players.
But yeah, like it's crazy that the whole thing of like the idea of like, rest. Because I think that's what we're taught when I'm sure when I was younger, somewhere along the line, someone has said, if you get injured, rest, But I have learned, I guess, through you and stuff that, certainly load it, listen to your body. Even actually, there was I was running maybe about a month ago, and I did say to Rajbir that like my knee was feeling a bit of a twinge, and she was like run through it and then see how you feel kind of thing, and I did, and the twinge went away.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
When I ran through my twinge the other day, it did not go away. It got worse.
Yeah. You might need to book a session.
Yeah, I think I do need to book a session, 100%.
I'll be happy to help.
So when it comes to physiotherapy, obviously, what really interested me when you were talking about the studies is that you learn about the whole body.
Yes.
Like I'm sure anyone listening can think of a million things that they feel is going wrong with their bodies. But you go to, like you said, a specialist. I'll go to the cardiologist to learn about my heart, and I'll go to someone else to talk about my spine and whatever it is. But actually, maybe a physio is one of the best people to come and see to understand. At the end of the day, our body flows all together. And it sounds like you're one of the only, in terms of your profession, one of the only practitioners that actually know how to help your body to reconnect and align. So what kind of things can you help with? Is it just like injury prone stuff, or is it like, in more depth, what is it, the kind of things that you help with and support with?
So, for example, I do like the regular physiotherapy, which comes under musculoskeletal and sports, but there are people who suffer with issues that are systemic, that would impact their musculoskeletal health, which is their spines, their joints, muscle, tendons, and ligaments. So working on controlling the systemic issue to make their physical health better, that's one thing that I do work on. I also work with women's health, so pelvic floor therapy. During this pelvic floor therapy or women's health programs, we work on making sure that they are fit and healthy during their pregnancy, prior to pregnancy, so that they can recover better post-pregnancy. We work on breathing, on relaxing. So there are so many relaxation techniques that we learned back in college that could be implemented just to reduce the stress levels. So I do practice with that as well. We have stretches, mobility. So a lot of people think that they need physiotherapy only if they have an injury.
Yeah.
Or if they have like pain or discomfort. But no, you can do physiotherapy, say like, for example, for Jevanni, like he was telling me he's gonna go for this competition. And he was on a much better level. He has recovered pretty well. His progress is good. So at that time, it wasn't necessary for him to continue with physiotherapy, but focus on how he can improve his capacity to perform better for that sports event. So we do help with that as well. It's not just always about like only if you're in pain you need to visit a healthcare professional or a physiotherapist. You can come in for, say, you want to improve your posture, you want to strengthen your core, you want to build your tolerance. Say like for a new mom, if they come, like they'll tell me, I'm trying to like carry my baby, but I feel too fatigued. What could I do for this? So improve upper body strengthening, upper body capacity. So these kind of factors as well. For elderly, like they have balance issues, they have high risk of fall, we can work with that as well. People who have vision issues, people who have headache, migraines, vertigo, dizziness, not necessarily coming from the eye or the ear, because there are so many clients who would go like to an ENT specialist and they come like with all negative results, nothing positive. But there are certain conditions that connect from the neck and from the upper back for the head. So that can also create, like there are certain muscles in the back of your head, just at the base. If they are tense, they can compress the circulation as well as the nerve supply that goes to your head, causing headaches and migraines.
Oh my gosh, I've had a headache for like 4 days and I think that's why.
So like, yeah, now depending on how much we rely on technology, like we are always, stuck in that one position just next to our laptops or our desktops. We don't move enough. People go around saying, there's an ideal posture. There is no ideal posture. Your ideal posture is your next posture. So the more you move, the better it is. If you're just sitting in one position, and it doesn't have to be like a specific movement, just you get up, you twist around, you just deload a bit and you get back to your work, like within 20, 30 minutes of constant sitting. And that does the work. You don't have to worry about like, okay, I need to get up, I need to find an elastic band, do this particular stretch or this particular movement now.
So every 30 minutes, or like for someone like me, for example, that has an Apple Watch, I could sit there all day on my laptop, but my watch would be like, hey, you haven't moved for an hour, get up and move for a minute. So I might just walk up and down, or if I have a skipping rope there, if I'm at home, skip for a second. But like you're saying, so any kind of movement, how often should you do it? Every 30 minutes, you say?
Every 30 minutes, minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah.
We're like, oh.
Yeah. Because it's so easy to get distracted in your task, right? Whether you're working at a desk or whether you're, whatever you're working on, and, before you know it, 2 hours, 3 hours have gone. So that idea of every 30 minutes, that's, like we've been speaking for over 40 minutes. So
Should
we get up and move?
Yeah.
Should I move any kind of way?
Yeah, anything. Just this.
Yeah.
I like to stretch my back.
Just a twist.
Left, right.
Clicking
And
loads.
back.
Okay.
So how important is balance? And I'm asking this because I know through our conversations, what you've said about sort of balance and imbalances and how that, can, cause or, lead to an injury. So how important is, being balanced, in terms of form and in terms of just your makeup and stuff?
Our body is meant to be asymmetric. There are many people who like give a lot of thought into getting their balances fixed, balances corrected, but not every time that could be the cause or the reason for what you're feeling. But in some cases, yes. So that's when we work on it. So say like if I see maybe when you do a squat or when you do a lunge, you're caving your knee in excessively. That just tells me, okay, this is something that you are habituated to doing. So this pattern, does this bring up your pain or no? And you tell me, yes, it brings my pain up in this particular position. Okay, that needs to be corrected. So that's when we focus on it. But in general, if someone comes and tells me, you know what, like my left shoulder is looking slightly higher than my right, do you think it could mean something? No, it's normal. Everybody has like one dominant side compared to the other. So definitely like one side muscles are gonna be a bit more toned compared to the other. That does not mean like it's a pathology or like an issue per se. So yeah, I think there's so much of knowledge out in the open where people are believing into things that are not even backed up by science. So I think staying up to date with, current research on, trials and what it's proven, because balances was something that people used to really believe in before. Like I have had clients like coming during our internship in college when I used to practice, they would come in and the moment we had our supervisor treating the client would say like, I have like, one shoulder higher than the other, and I feel like the one that is lower is causing me the pain. But when you test, everything is good. There's no pain, no pathology, no issue, nothing. But it's just a thought, when you see it, what you see or what you hear. But that's not the reality. Now with research coming out, people are believing that asymmetries are normal. Feeling imbalances is normal, as long as it does not impact your performance. So I usually don't give much into it, to be very frank, unless I see that something is affecting my client's performance or their daily activity. That's when I work on it. In general, like if you'll see me, like I have a scoliosis in my lower back, but I don't bother.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should or no, but like I generally don't bother because it does not impact my performance. It does not impact my daily routine. It does not impact, in my mobility or movement. So, yeah.
So would you say that's a rule of thumb for anybody that's kind of looking at themselves or feeling some kind of discomfort or thinking they are? If it doesn't impact your daily performance, whether it's fitness or just daily life, then it's not a problem.
It's not a problem. Like, there are so many people who have like clicking knees or cracking knees. And the moment they squat or they move, they could hear these sounds, But now imagine back, I think just 5 years ago, when these kind of patients would visit orthopedic doctors, they would tell them to inject like hyaluronic, like a fluid, just to improve the greasing.
Wow.
But now that is gone. Doctors are like, okay, first question they'll ask, is it causing you pain? Is it limiting your movement? No, I just hear it. Okay, it's cool. It's fine.
That's interesting actually, because like clicking fingers, I click my fingers quite a few times in a day, and there used to be, I don't know if it's a myth or a fact, so you can clear this up, but if you click your fingers too much, you're going to give yourself arthritis. Is that true?
No, you have to click your fingers, I think 24/7. 365 days if you really want arthritis. Our body is robust, like our bones, our muscles, they're pretty strong. So just like by clicking it like every now and then, no, it's not going to cause arthritis. Definitely not.
On that, what causes arthritis? Is that genetic, or is it, down to how you treat your body?
Mm-hmm. I think it depends like also on your history. For example, some kinds of arthritis are genetic, like rheumatoid, very common in women. So if their mothers have had it, they would have it too. Females are generally at a higher risk. But in general, if you look at arthritis, could be because of a normal part of aging. It's just a normal process. But at the same time, we just need to see if there was any injury or trauma to that joint that sped it up.
Is there anything we can do to prevent it?
To prevent mobility and strengthening. Strengthening is well known to provide good support to the joints, strengthen them, stabilize them, and you will reduce the chances of arthritis.
In your opinion, do you feel that weight training is more important than things like cardio?
No, I think it differs from person to person. Everybody's body type, everybody's physical activity tolerance, it's all different. So if you're someone who has had like a lot of aches and pains and you feel like you're not able to lift heavier, like say imagine even carrying a laptop bag is causing you forearm pain. Okay, maybe you got to look into like strengthening. Maybe you got to look into what's bringing it. Is it lack of mobility? So maybe you need more stretches. Is it because the capacity of the tissues is not that much, given the amount of load that you're placing on it? Okay, you got to improve it, balance it. Most of the times, this is a case scenario. So a lot of people are trying to load it too much and too soon, but their body isn't used to it. So say someone who does regular workouts, but gotten into running just now, like, and never tried running before, say like a 5K or a 10K, and they come up with knee pains. This is normal because you did an activity your body and your muscles are not used to.
This is literally me. Everyone's like, run, bro. I'm like, I can't. I can't do it.
So does that mean that you will not do it again? No. If you get pain when you're traveling, would you stop traveling? No. So the only thing you got to do is just train your body to take those loads better, to respond to those loads better. And that's where we play a role as well, because there are so many fitness instructors now that have actually gotten into being a personal trainer after a medical science study, which makes them way better, because so many people who get coaches to train them, they'll just push way too fast, way too soon to get the goals of the client. That's from their perspective. But when it comes from our perspective, we just feel like when a physio has to say it, we'll say, oh, okay, your trainer pushed you too much and too soon. He should have looked into this factor, into that factor. But again, this is so common. We cannot expect a personal trainer to know the medicine part of it. But in physiotherapy, this is the advantage. We know how to create a plan, a tailored plan for strengthening, for conditioning, while you're doing your medical treatment. So it's like medical, your recovery, your training, and your fitness all in one. So there are more advantages to this. So a lot of my clients tell me, like, I'm going to start workout. I've never done this before. I'm going to do this workout, that workout. I just saw it on an app. I'm going to do it how the app says. And I'm like, the app is saying general. Every person's body is different. How you're going to respond to this load might be different to how another one responds. So it has to be very precise and tailored. And that's where we come into the picture.
How important, or is it important, resistance training? How important is resistance training to the longevity of your body's functioning capacity? Because I've often sort of heard things or read things in terms of, like if someone did no resistance training whatsoever, as time progresses, their body becomes frail. I don't know, maybe you can debunk that if it's a myth, or speak to it if it's true, or if there's any truth in it.
No, it's definitely true. But then again, it just not relies on strength training. It could be any form of loading for the muscles. Could be endurance training, could be a cardio, anything you name. Because when we do, if you look into the research part of it, they show that as you age, and at the same time, if you are leading a sedentary lifestyle, you're not working out at all, and that includes not even a walk in the day, your muscles are going to atrophy. They're going to lose its muscle mass. And that's then going to put the bones under more stress. So the more load that hits the bones, more arthritis chances. This is like in a very layman terms to explain. But there's definitely a bigger process and physiology behind this. But yeah, so at that point, our focus is to get them into strength training. So resistance training is a priority, no doubt. But at the same time, you need to make sure that your joints and your muscles are flexible and your joints are mobile enough so you don't compromise. Because you see now there's a lot of people who have like good mobility and flexibility, but very bad control around the joints. That's when they got to focus a bit more on strengthening and stability. And people who have like really good muscle bulk because of strengthening, weightlifters, bodybuilders, they lack the mobility because their muscles have developed that tone. You will hear the bodybuilders come in and say, I'm feeling stiff. It's not stiff. It's the new tone that you built in your muscle by working out. But at the same time, it's also restricting your joints. You're not able to stretch and move. Like if I had a dime for every time I've asked a bodybuilder if you do stretching and they say no, oh my God. I've never heard one doing so. So I think that part is often neglected. So
it's
now,
both ends of the scale, really. So
yeah.
People, let's say someone that does a lot of, well, maybe not yoga, because you do strength in yoga because you're holding your own body weight. But people that are stretching a lot and looking after their body in that sense may be prone to injury because they don't have the strength around it and they've loosened their joints. But then someone like a bodybuilder is super strong, but then they're at risk of injury because they're not mobile enough. Is that right? So really everything needs to go hand in hand.
Exactly, because when
Just
you see...
adding more to our workouts.
Yeah. No, you see like bodybuilders, when they want to load their muscles or the joint through a certain range, it's always at the extreme point of the range when they injure themselves. That's because they don't have that kind of training that they have done to load it through a different angle, through a different plane, through the full range. So they're just training like in one position in a certain angle, but that's not how our body moves. We don't move like a robot. We move in all different planes, axes. So like that's what we need to focus on as well.
Yeah. Let's say I come into your practice and, I'm a bodybuilder or someone that does strength training, and I'm like, I want to become more flexible. I want to be more mobile. How long would it take me to be more mobile? What would you say to that?
I'll say the word that every health professional says, it depends. Actually, it depends, because when we assess, we get to know how well you're moving. So we look into your range of movement, we look into the strength, we look into motor control. There is something called strength, and there is something called motor control. How well the muscles and the ligaments around your joint control your movement through a certain range. So even that has to be really good, because this is for joints that connect one another. Like anything that hits your lower back might cause some hip pain or might cause mid-back pain, because it's one unit. It's connected to adjacent areas. So anything one area gets affected with, the other one takes a bit more toll to compensate for the lack of strength or the lack of movement that the issue area is not able to do or give. So in these kind of cases, it only goes after assessment. So once we do a detailed assessment, a full analysis, that's when we tell them that, okay, if you are consistent with your exercises, that's another thing, then you can see good results.
So in other words, it has to become part of a lifestyle.
Yes, has to be, because consistency is key when it comes to rehab.
I always think like if I could go back to when I was in school and stuff, I would, PE lessons, and whenever there was like, say, a stretching class or a stretch down at the end, that's when I'd be like sneaking off. And I feel like now if I have kids, I think that's the one thing I'm going to say to them is just mobility, just make sure you stretch.
Yeah, because kids are they're like almost like, they
Elastic,
just bend,
yeah.
they just bend in
And
every which way.
Yeah, and you don't notice, it's always like you never notice until it's almost too late. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to say that I'm at a stage where it's too late, but like as a kid, I'd play football and then I'd be fine. Like I could go for a run. I could, even as a teenager or as a young adult, etc. Whereas now I'm like, like if I play football, like I'm out for like 3 days after, kind of just like trying to kind of
Body's in recovery mode.
And I feel like definitely. I mean, maybe there is now in the education system. Maybe you will know. Maybe there is now more emphasis on like the importance of stretching, warming down, and all those sort of things.
Definitely.
Yeah, because at the time it's like, I don't want to warm up and I don't want to cool down. Just let me do what I want to do, because you don't actually know really why you're doing it. You're just told to do something.
And I think it's made too complicated, but it doesn't have to. Like anything that you're gonna say now, you're gonna do a lunge, right, or a Bulgarian split, and you want to do your warm up for that. Just do the same movement. That's your warm up, but without any weights. So it's a free movement, and then you get into with weights. So it's not like, okay, if I have to do my warm-up, it has to be this protocol, it has to be these movements specifically, I need to do it in this sequence from head to toe or from toe to up, But it's more about exactly how you want to work on that area that you're going to strengthen. So if you want to do workout, say leg day, and you want to focus on your glutes, okay, you got to loosen up your lower back, you got to loosen up your hips, your knees. These are the areas that connects the muscles to one another. So this is, again, another thing that a lot of people often ignore. But the more they work on it, they see the results within just like a week. And they come and they tell me like, I did this flexibility stretch like you told me. It's much better. And I'm like, yeah, just keep going on it.
It is interesting, because I think, especially as when you go to train specific areas of your body, you're not necessarily thinking about, if I'm training my legs, I'm not thinking, well, I am, but lots of people aren't thinking about their core stability whilst training legs, and actually how important that is. And even like if I'm doing a back squat, I am resting the bar on one part of my shoulders, and I am tensing my back muscles at the same time as everything else. So it's like, I'm training my legs, but the rest of my body is activated. Yeah. And I think a lot of the time we're not thinking about how we're all connected like that. So when people come to you as a client, do you help them to understand how much their body is actually connected? And yes, they might be doing a lunge, but where is your body positioned when you're doing a lunge and things like that?
Definitely I do. Example, Jevanni again. Like he was facing trouble in getting too deep into his squats, and every time like it caused a pain. When I assessed, I saw like he's leaning too forward. So there are certain squats that you can do which could be either hip dominant or knee dominant. It depends on your body angle. So if you lean too forward, that's just gonna be hip dominant. But if you're gonna keep your body more vertical, and then perform like a squat or a lunge, that's going to be more quads dominant or knee dominant. So when I asked him to move out of that position and do it, I could see he wasn't able to maintain balance. That's because how his body is now used to that particular angle, and the muscles have adapted around it. So to change that pattern is definitely going to take time. But the best thing you can do is repetitions. The more repetitions you do, the more your body adapts. It's like our muscles have a memory. You want to erase that memory and build a new one, right? So erasing takes time because it's there like for years. But then you build on it, you clear it, you make a new pattern, and then you strengthen around the new pattern. And that is what your body is going to learn. Because every time there is a pain or there's an injury, we feel like stiff, right? We want to block ourselves. We don't want to move because of the fear, But at the same time, we want to make the body feel like, okay, you don't have to stress. You don't have to block, because where does this pain come from? It's coming from the nerve. Definitely I have a cut. Say I have a cut in my muscle, or like I have a tear in my muscle. The pain is definitely coming from the injury that is there within the muscle. But what is making me feel that pain is the nervous system. So if you don't train or control your nervous system, no matter how much you train your muscle, it's not going to take you anywhere. So it's always have to be that mind-muscle or mind-body connection that you need to trigger first or target first. And the more you work on it, you're going to see the results better.
And how can we work on training that nervous system or understanding it?
All about easing yourself into movements. Like say, for instance, you bent down to pick something and you got a back pain, right? But when you come to me, you tell me, you know what? I just like leaned forward to pick like a bag from the floor and I got it. This is like you're blaming your last latte for your bankruptcy. Right? But you're not looking into what led to this. Your ecosystem, the life around you. Did you sleep well or no? Did you train too fast? Did you hydrate or eat well? Is there any stress that's bothering you? Your relationships, life around you, all this impacts on your pain. So when they come in, I don't have to just assess their, lower back or their pain at this moment and work around it. No, I need to make sure like their body feels safe and comfortable to do the movement. So every time a client comes in, I tell them, okay, move as much as possible. You're the one who's going through this pain, so I cannot relate to it. Definitely not. I'm not in that place, but I can at least tell you not to restrict yourself. The more you restrict yourself, you're giving a sign to your nervous system or an input to your nervous system that things are still not on the safe side. I cannot move yet. That fear just creates more pain and more spasm of the muscles, and that hinders your recovery.
So let's say you wake up with a crook neck, you sleep bad and you're like, yeah. I can't look that way. Yeah. Are you saying to be able to train your nervous system, instead of being like, oh, I can't move today, and then tomorrow you might wake up like, no, I don't know if I can still move, and you don't want to because it causes pain. Maybe start to ease yourself into moving?
Yes,
and
definitely.
Working with it just to slowly, I guess.
So like, for example, in this case, if you're telling me like your neck was stuck, okay, try just like holding it around and then see if you can move. Try with some support. Try like supporting your arm and see if you can still turn or no. Is it causing too much pain? Okay, just do like some gentle circular movement around the back of the neck just to ease it out. Or maybe use like a warm pack. Then again, clients come, how do I know if I should use a hot pack or a cold pack? That's
true,
different. Yeah. So like you use cold when you have an acute or a recent injury that is giving you swelling, warmth, redness. But if it's just a spasm, just like in this case scenario, most of the times it is a spasm. It's just a lock. So the only thing you need to do is focus on deep breathing, relax. And as you take a deep breath in and as you exhale, you just slowly start moving more and more. With some gentle massage around the back of the neck, some basic stretches or some activations. So like just a static push where your hand is at the side of your head and you just press into it gently and then release. And the more you repeat it, you can see you can move more. Because these are the techniques that I do in the session, by the way. I really do this. And they, at the end of the session, like they are able to move better. And they're like, what did you do? Just what you should be doing at home next time this happens. So I don't want patients to depend on me. So every time they come in, I tell them, like, you should know, God forbid, if this happens next time, what's the step you need to do first? So I train them that way. So I tell them, okay, next time you have this, you're going to do this. Next time you feel this is the case, and every exercise has a reason for what I'm giving them. And generally, you don't have to do a lot of exercises because let's be honest, nobody has that much time to dedicate themselves, 10, 15 minutes a day just for exercising. Simple basic movements and stretches they can do, say, at their work or, at home when they're watching TV or just before sleep, like 5 minutes of quick routine that would just help them, relax. Does this cause a permanent result or solves the issue right away? No. But this makes you feel more comfortable and gets you that confident that, yes, I can move. And the more you put that in your brain, better it gets. Because then your body feels like, oh, okay, she can move. We don't have to react that strong,
It's crazy how much of it is a mental thing.
Yes.
And you mentioned dependency. And like, even for me, when I went to see the orthopedic doctor, I initially recommended I get these patella straps. And so I put these patella straps on, and like I remember like wearing them, and I started to run again, and I was like, okay, I've got this support on my knee now, so I can run with them and stuff. And then I remember Rajbir was like, after a bit of treatment, Rajbir was like, I don't need the straps anymore, just I'm like, what? Are you sure? Like, no, what? Like, and then, but it's actually crazy because I remember it was a competition that I'd done, and I remember going there, and you told me not to use the straps and stuff, and that day, there was a moment in there where I kind of had this thing in my mind of, actually, I've been having a victim mentality towards my injury, and I've been allowing it to define me. So, I'd be like, I'm like to my teammates in the competition, I'm like, oh, look, I'm going to do as best as I can, but I've got a knee injury. So like, let me, just so you know, kind of thing. So I'm already making excuses. And then, I don't know, at some point during that competition, I kind of just like, do you know what? Like, I think the reason why you're still injured is because, and it's going back to when we had Cyrus on the pod, it's because I'm allowing myself to feel injured, and I'm allowing that to define me. So from then I made that decision. I'm not going to kind of refer to my injury in that way anymore. Yes. I'm going to ignore it. And I just remember actually unpacking another level to performance and stuff in that moment. So it's interesting that you said about dependency and, giving you the confidence to do things, because I think, once you mentally, it's almost like playing mind games on your mind. It's like once, you tell your mind that you can do something, then it's crazy how much you can actually do.
Exactly. It's all about changing your mindset or your look onto yourself, onto your pain or onto your injury. First day he came in with those knee straps, I'm like, okay. I did not assess him. I just got him to sit for a consultation. I'm like, I got to get rid of those ASAP. and that's the first thing we did. And like, I think when he realized that the more he performed without the support, the better he could perform. So that's just getting that confidence or, that boost that, there's nothing big ongoing. It's all just about training around it. So there's a thing that we physios follow, like you treat the donut, not the hole. So where the injury is, you don't give extra emphasis on that, because that's just going to trigger more and more fear and more self-control onto not doing things. But if you treat the structures around it, so say you have a forearm, tennis elbow, let's take it for instance. So tennis elbow is a tendon problem. Your tendon has been overloaded with regular practice, say if you're a regular tennis player or a paddle player, so on. Or even working onto your desk. There are people who don't play these sports but end up getting it, and they come and they say, I have tennis elbow. But it's only for tennis people, right? People who play tennis? No, it's for anybody, whoever overloads it. So we don't train the tendon, but we work around it. We work on the muscle, we work on the hand, the wrist, and the shoulder, and it gives better result because it's a whole chain, it's linked. Imagine like you have a machinery where like one part is blocked. It's gonna block everything else, right? That connects to it. So the same is the body. So you got to fix that part slowly, but in order to get that comfortable and moving better, you got to work the adjacent areas. So the more we treat that way, or the more we plan the approach on that perspective, better results we see.
Amazing. So I think this episode has really emphasized the fact that you just have to keep moving.
Moving, yes.
And obviously listen to your body, but don't let the pains define you and make sure that you're continuing to move. And when you say load, it's not necessarily load up with as much weights as possible, but load as in stretch, load as in take those steps. In fact, actually, talking about steps, everyone says you have to walk 10,000 steps a day. What's your thoughts?
No, there's no limit to it. It's all on you.
Is there a minimum?
Minimum? You can do minimum, I think, like 6 in a day. 6K. Yeah. That should be a good minimum. Yeah. For someone who really wants to be active and fit. That should be something like I think everybody should follow, regardless of the age group.
Okay, 6,000
is the bare minimum.
Yes, it's another 30 minutes have passed, so I think we need to kind of like
move again.
Loosen up.
But I think, I mean, it's quite obvious why, and we should have mentioned this at the top of the pod, but, you know, it's quite obvious why you've been named Physiotherapist of the Year 2 years running. Yes. It's, you know, and grateful to Sarah for recommending you to me and stuff. Are there any other myths or, I guess, any gems or knowledge that you want to share with us before?
I think also regarding nutrition, like there are so many people who are leading an active lifestyle depending on so many supplements, but supplements aren't a fixed most of the time. Like, for example, say you will see now as you know, our lifestyle have undergone so many changes over the last few years. There's so many people suffering with gut issues, right? And gut issues isn't just because of your dietary, but also because of mental, because of stress. So if your dietary absorption isn't good, regardless of how many supplements you take, it's not going to help. And there are so many ways to naturally consume it than depending or relying on the medical supplements. For example, like in Dubai, it's a trend. People want to take vitamin D supplements. Like, you have a sun outside. It's strong in Dubai. You can just take that. Depend on natural sunlight. Make sure you're having a diet that is rich in calcium, magnesium. Like, a lot of people who take vitamin D, they just take it alone, but they don't realize that there should be a combination in the supplement, because that's how the absorption works. In order to make sure calcium is absorbed well in the body, there should be good vitamin K, magnesium, and all these three should be good enough to make sure there is good absorption of vitamin D. So, you know, there are so many myths like these. Like, people just depend, okay, I'm going to go to the doctor, I'm going to get this 10,000 IU unit of vitamin D, and I'm going to take it every week, and I'm going to be better. No, there are so many other things to also consider. So, yeah, I think those are some kind of, things that people really want to know about, but aren't clear. Rest, I'm always available. You can visit me and I can always help you.
Where can people find you?
They can find me in Physio Recovery and Wellness Clinic at Al Safa 2 in Dubai.
Amazing.
Nice. We have a tradition on the pod at the end. We ask all our guests the same question. And that question is, if you could create one rule for everyone in the world to follow, what would it be and why?
I would say not to take everything seriously. The more you take everything to your heart, or the more you give thought into, more trouble it creates. That's what I have learned. Like, over these last 7 years, this is my mentality now. Like, you got to take it slow and easy and not take it like too strong. The more you react to things, the worse it's going to get. So take it slow and take it easy so that you can lead a better lifestyle. To stay more fit and healthy, you don't need to push into many things. You don't need to do Pilates. You don't need to do running. You don't need to do strength training all in one. No. See what makes you feel good, what makes you feel energized, and just stick to that one routine, and that's going to take you to places.
Love it.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Thank you so much. It's been so interesting
Thank
today.
you so much for having me over.
Yeah, thanks
Pleasure.
for coming. Yeah.